Hello, my dear friend. I want you to know that I see you. I see you right where you are in this moment, perhaps feeling a little tired, maybe even frustrated, because you've been trying so hard to bring the good things into your life. You've been working with the law of attraction. You've been saying your affirmations. You've been visualizing, and yet somehow, the things you want most seem to stay just out of reach. Some days it feels like you're doing everything right, but the universe just isn't listening. Other days, you wonder if maybe you're not worthy of the beautiful life you've been dreaming about. I want you to take a gentle breath with me right now. Just breathe in slowly, and as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop a little. Good. You know, I've been where you are. I felt that ache of wanting something so deeply and not understanding why it wasn't coming to me. I've questioned myself, wondered what I was doing wrong, and sometimes even felt angry at the universe for not responding to my heartfelt requests. But what I discovered, and what I want to share with you today, is that sometimes the most powerful changes come not from doing more, but from making one tiny shift in how we approach everything. You see, when we're struggling to attract what we want, we often think we need to try harder, say more affirmations, visualize more clearly, or find the perfect technique. We search for the magic formula that will finally unlock the door to our dreams. But the truth is, that door isn't locked at all. It's simply waiting for us to approach it with a different energy, a different feeling inside our hearts. The shift I want to talk with you about today is so small, so simple, that you might wonder how something so tiny could change everything. Yet this one little adjustment in how you hold yourself, how you speak to the universe, and how you feel in your body can transform your entire experience of attracting what you desire. Right now, you might be carrying the weight of unfulfilled dreams. Maybe you've been wanting a loving relationship for years, and you're tired of dating people who don't see your worth. Perhaps you've been trying to create financial abundance, but money seems to slip through your fingers no matter how hard you work. Or maybe you're longing for better health, more energy, a sense of purpose, or simply the feeling that life is working with you instead of against you. Whatever it is that your heart is calling for, I want you to know that your desires are not random. They're not selfish or unrealistic. Your heart knows what it wants because your soul is trying to guide you toward your highest good. But here's what happens to so many of us. We get caught up in the energy of wanting, and wanting by its very nature keeps us in a state of not having. When we approach the universe from a place of desperation, of need, of feeling like we're lacking something essential, we actually push away the very things we're trying to attract. It's like trying to catch a butterfly by chasing it with a net. The harder we chase, the faster it flies away. But when we sit quietly in the garden, when we become still and peaceful, the butterfly comes and lands gently on our shoulder. This isn't your fault. Nobody ever taught us how to want things in a healthy way. We learned to want from a place of emptiness, thinking that getting what we want would finally make us feel complete. We learned to beg the universe, to try to convince it that we deserve good things, to work harder and harder to prove we're worthy of love, abundance, and joy. But the universe doesn't operate from a place of judgment or scarcity. The universe is abundant, loving, and always responding to the energy we're sending out. When we send out the energy of lack, of desperation, of not being enough, the universe lovingly matches that energy and gives us more experiences of lack, desperation, and not being enough. I know this might feel overwhelming to hear, especially if you've been trying so hard for so long. But I want you to feel hope right now, because what I'm about to share with you will change everything. You don't need to throw away everything you've learned about attraction. You don't need to start over or find some completely new path. You simply need to make one small, beautiful shift in how you approach your desires. This shift is so natural, so aligned with who you really are, that once you understand it, you'll wonder why nobody ever told you about it before. The shift I'm talking about is moving from the energy of wanting to the energy of welcoming. Just sit with that for a moment. Feel the difference between wanting something and welcoming something. When you want something, there's often a feeling of tension in your body, a sense of reaching, of grasping, of feeling like you're not complete without it. But when you welcome something, there's a sense of openness, of readiness, of trust. You're not chasing or grabbing. You're simply opening your arms and your heart and saying, "Yes, I'm ready to receive." Now let me share with you a truth that might surprise you. The universe is not a cosmic vending machine where you put in the right thoughts and actions and get what you want in return. The universe is much more like a loving friend who responds to the feeling behind your words, the energy in your heart, the vibration you're sending out into the world. And here's the beautiful thing about this friend. It always says yes to whatever energy you're consistently putting out. Always, without exception. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop trying to convince the universe that you deserve good things because you realize the universe never questioned your worthiness in the first place. You stop working so hard to make things happen because you understand that your job is not to force outcomes, but to become the kind of person who naturally attracts what you desire. You stop feeling frustrated when things don't happen on your timeline because you trust that the universe is always orchestrating things in your highest good, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Think about tuning a radio for a moment. When you want to listen to a particular station, you don't beg the radio waves to come to you. You don't work harder to force the signal to reach you. You simply tune your radio to the right frequency, and suddenly, clearly, the music flows through. The radio waves were always there, always available, always broadcasting. You just needed to match their frequency to receive them. This is exactly how attraction works. The love you want, the abundance you desire, the health and happiness and peace you're seeking, all of this is already available to you. It's already broadcasting on a specific frequency. Your job is not to create these things or to convince them to come to you. Your job is to tune yourself to the frequency where they already exist. And that frequency is not the frequency of wanting, of lacking, of feeling incomplete. That frequency is the frequency of love, of gratitude, of feeling whole and worthy, exactly as you are right now. I can almost hear some of you thinking, "But Louise, how can I feel abundant when my bank account is empty? How can I feel loved when I'm alone? How can I feel healthy when my body is struggling?" These are beautiful, honest questions, and I want to answer them with great tenderness. You don't need to pretend that your current circumstances are different than they are. You don't need to lie to yourself or put on a false positive mask. What you need to do is understand the difference between your current situation and your true identity. Your current situation is temporary. It's simply where you are right now, based on thoughts, beliefs, and patterns you've been carrying, often without even realizing it. But your true identity is that of a beloved child of the universe, worthy of all good things, naturally magnetic and attractive, capable of creating a beautiful life. When you begin to identify more with your true self than with your current circumstances, everything begins to shift. Not because you're denying reality, but because you're recognizing a deeper reality, the reality of who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Now let's look honestly at what might be blocking this natural flow of good things into your life. Because if attraction is as natural as tuning a radio, why isn't everyone living the life of their dreams? Why do so many good, loving, worthy people struggle to bring their desires into reality? The answer lies not in the universe being selective or unfair, but in the invisible patterns and beliefs that we carry inside us, often without even knowing they're there. One of the most common blocks is what I call the unworthiness virus. This is a deep, often unconscious belief that we don't deserve good things, that we're somehow flawed or not enough, that we need to earn love and abundance through suffering or hard work. This virus gets installed early in life through well-meaning parents, teachers, and society who taught us that we need to prove our worth, that good things only come to those who struggle for them, that wanting things for ourselves is selfish or unrealistic. The unworthiness virus is sneaky. It doesn't usually show up as obvious self-hatred. Instead, it whispers things like, "Who are you to want such a beautiful life?" Or, "Good things like that don't happen to people like you," or, "You'll probably just mess it up anyway." It creates a subtle but constant feeling that you're not quite ready, not quite good enough, not quite deserving of your heart's desires. And because the universe always says yes to our dominant beliefs about ourselves, this feeling of unworthiness gets reflected back to us in the form of experiences that confirm we're not worthy. Another common block is the fear of actually receiving what we want. This might sound strange, but many of us have learned to be more comfortable with wanting than with having. Wanting keeps us safe in a way because it means we don't have to face the responsibility, the potential loss, or the changes that would come with actually getting what we desire. If you've been hurt in relationships, part of you might be afraid to attract real love because love makes you vulnerable. If you grew up with financial struggle, part of you might be afraid of abundance because you don't know how to handle it, or you worry that having money will change you in ways you don't like. There's also what I call attachment to struggle. Many of us learn that struggle equals virtue, that if things come easily, they can't be valuable or meaningful. We learn that we have to work hard, suffer, and sacrifice to prove we deserve good things. So even when opportunities for ease and flow come into our lives, we unconsciously push them away because they don't match our belief about how good things are supposed to come to us. Sometimes we block our good through what feels like being spiritual or selfless, but is actually a form of self-rejection. We tell ourselves that it's not spiritual to want material things, that good people should be content with less, that focusing on our own desires is selfish when there's so much suffering in the world. But here's the truth. The universe wants you to be happy, abundant, and fulfilled. Your joy doesn't take away from anyone else's. In fact, when you're living in alignment with your true desires, when you're happy and fulfilled, you naturally inspire others and contribute more love and positive energy to the world. Another subtle but powerful block is the habit of making our current reality more real and solid than our desires. We look at what is and say, "This is reality, and anything different is just wishful thinking." We give more power to our current bank balance than to our vision of abundance. We give more weight to our relationship status than to our capacity for love. We treat our current health condition as more true than our body's natural ability to heal and thrive. But what if I told you that your desires, your visions, your dreams are just as real as your current circumstances? What if your ability to attract something new is just as real as what you're experiencing right now? The most challenging block of all might be the belief that we have to know how our desires will come to us. We try to figure out the exact steps, the specific timeline, the particular people who will be involved in bringing our dreams to life. We want guarantees and clear paths before we're willing to truly open our hearts to receive. But the universe works in ways that are far more creative, surprising, and magical than our limited minds can plan. When we insist on knowing the how, we actually limit the infinite ways that our good can come to us. Here's what I want you to understand about these blocks. They're not character flaws or signs that you're broken. They're simply patterns you learned along the way, ways of thinking and being that once served a purpose, but now stand between you and your natural birthright of joy, love, and abundance. Every single one of these patterns can be changed. Every belief that limits you can be transformed. Every fear that holds you back can be healed with patience, love, and the gentle practice of choosing new thoughts and feelings. The beautiful thing about working with these blocks is that you don't have to analyze them all or fix them one by one. You don't need to spend years in therapy uncovering every limiting belief you've ever held. When you make the shift from wanting to welcoming, when you begin to tune yourself to the frequency of love and worthiness, these old patterns naturally begin to dissolve. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You don't have to fight the darkness or analyze why it was there. You simply turn on the light, and the darkness disappears all by itself. So now, my dear friend, let me share with you exactly what this tiny shift looks like and how it will transform your entire experience of creating the life you love. The shift from wanting to welcoming is so simple that you might think I'm oversimplifying things, but I promise you, this one small change in how you approach your desires will revolutionize everything. When you truly understand this shift, when you feel it in your body and practice it in your daily life, you'll wonder how you ever tried to attract anything any other way. Let's start by exploring what it really means to want something. When you say, "I want," notice what happens in your body. Feel that energy of reaching, of stretching towards something that feels outside of you, separate from you. There's often a tension in wanting, a feeling of incompleteness, of lack. The very word want suggests that you don't have what you need, that something is missing from your life. When you're in wanting energy, you're actually vibrating lack, and the universe, in its perfect responsiveness, gives you more to want. But when you shift to "I welcome," everything changes. Feel that energy right now. Say it out loud. "I welcome." Notice how different it feels in your body. There's a sense of openness, of readiness, of space being created for something beautiful to enter your life. When you welcome something, you're not grasping or chasing. You're not coming from a place of need or desperation. You're coming from a place of trust, of knowing that you're worthy of receiving, of confidence that good things naturally flow to you. This shift changes your entire energetic vibration because it moves you from the frequency of lack to the frequency of receptivity. When you're in welcoming energy, you're like a beautiful garden that's been prepared for the seeds of your desires. The soil is rich, the conditions are perfect, and you're simply ready to receive what wants to grow in your life. You're not digging up the seeds to see if they're growing. You're not forcing the flowers to bloom faster. You're simply maintaining the perfect conditions and trusting the natural process of growth. The power of receptivity cannot be overstated. In our culture, we've been taught that we need to make things happen, that we need to force outcomes through sheer willpower and effort. But true manifestation is much more like becoming a powerful magnet than like pushing a boulder up a hill. When you're truly receptive, when you're in welcoming energy, you become irresistibly attractive to the things that are meant for you. You don't have to chase opportunities, they come looking for you. You don't have to convince people to love you, they're naturally drawn to your energy. You don't have to struggle for abundance, it flows to you as naturally as water flows downhill. Let me give you some examples of how this shift feels in your daily life. When you're looking for love from wanting energy, you might find yourself scanning dating apps desperately, analyzing every text message for signs of interest, or feeling anxious and needy when you meet someone you like. But when you approach love from welcoming energy, you feel complete and whole on your own. You naturally attract people who appreciate your authentic self, and you're able to be present and relaxed in relationships because you're not trying to get something from the other person. When you're seeking financial abundance from wanting energy, you might constantly worry about money, feel jealous of others who have more, or work frantically without seeing results. But when you welcome abundance, you appreciate what you already have. You make financial decisions from a place of trust rather than fear. And you naturally notice and act on opportunities that align with your values and skills. Even in small daily situations, this shift makes a profound difference. When you want a parking space, you're stressed and frustrated when one isn't immediately available. But when you welcome a parking space, you're relaxed and trusting, and somehow the perfect spot seems to open up just when you need it. When you want your day to go smoothly, you fight against any little inconvenience. But when you welcome a smooth day, you flow with whatever comes up, and even the challenges feel manageable and meaningful. The shift from wanting to welcoming also changes how you relate to time. When you're wanting something, you're often impatient, focused on when it will arrive, frustrated by delays. But when you're welcoming something, you trust divine timing. You understand that everything unfolds perfectly, that delays often protect you from getting things before you're truly ready, and that the universe is always orchestrating circumstances in your highest good. Now let me help you understand something that might be the most important thing I share with you today. You are naturally magnetic. You don't have to learn how to attract. You're already attracting constantly. Every moment of every day, you're pulling experiences, people, and circumstances toward you based on your dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. The question is not whether you're magnetic. You absolutely are. The question is what you're magnetizing and whether it matches what you truly want in your life. You were born magnetic. As a little child, before the world taught you to doubt yourself, you naturally attracted love, attention, and care. You didn't have to work for it or prove you deserved it. You simply existed in your authentic, joyful state, and people were naturally drawn to your energy. That magnetic power never left you. It's still there, underneath any doubts or fears you've picked up along the way. It's still there, waiting for you to remember and reclaim it. But here's what happens to so many of us as we grow up. We start listening to the voice of doubt and criticism, both from others and from ourselves. We begin to believe that we're not good enough, smart enough, attractive enough, or worthy enough to have the life we really want. This negative self-talk creates static interference in our natural magnetic field. It's like having a powerful radio, but the antenna is covered with so much interference that you can barely pick up any clear signals. Every time you tell yourself you're not good enough, you're dampening your magnetic power. Every time you focus on what's wrong with you instead of what's wonderful about you, you're creating resistance to the good things that want to flow into your life. Every time you compare yourself to others and find yourself lacking, you're actually repelling the very experiences that would make you feel confident and worthy. But the beautiful thing about this interference is that it's not permanent. It's not who you really are. It's just learned patterns of thinking that can be unlearned. The moment you begin to speak to yourself with kindness, to focus on your strengths and gifts, to appreciate your unique journey, your natural magnetism begins to shine through again. It's like clearing the static from a radio. Suddenly, beautiful music comes through clearly. Your thoughts create actual physical sensations in your body, and these sensations are part of your magnetic field. When you think loving, appreciative thoughts about yourself, you can actually feel your energy expanding, your heart opening, your whole being becoming more attractive and magnetic. When you think critical, fearful thoughts, you can feel your energy contracting, your body tightening, your magnetism diminishing. This is why working with your thoughts is so important, not because you need to control every single thought, but because your thoughts are literally creating the vibrational frequency that determines what you attract. When you consistently choose thoughts that make you feel good about yourself and excited about life, you're tuning yourself to attract experiences that match those feelings. One of the biggest obstacles to natural magnetism is the need to force and control outcomes. When we're afraid that things won't work out, we often try to micromanage every detail of how our desires will unfold. But forcing is the opposite of magnetism. When you're forcing, you're actually pushing away what you want because force comes from fear, and fear is not attractive. Think about someone you know who's naturally magnetic. They have a certain ease about them, a confidence that doesn't need to prove itself, a trust in life that makes you want to be around them. They're not grasping or desperate or trying to control what other people think of them. They're simply being themselves, and that authenticity is irresistibly attractive. This is what you're moving toward, a natural, effortless magnetism that comes from trusting yourself, appreciating your worth, and releasing the need to control how your good comes to you. When you let go of forcing, you make space for the universe to surprise you with opportunities and possibilities you never could have planned or imagined. Now that you understand the shift and recognize your natural magnetic power, let me share with you some beautiful, simple practices that will help you embody this new way of being in your daily life. These aren't complicated techniques or time-consuming rituals. They're gentle, loving practices that will gradually retrain your energy to naturally attract what you desire. Let's start with how you begin each day, because the energy you create in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. Instead of waking up and immediately thinking about your problems or checking your phone for distractions, take just a few moments to set an attractive vibration for your day. As soon as you wake up, before you even get out of bed, place your hand on your heart and say, "Good morning, beautiful soul. What would you like to welcome into this day?" Feel the difference in that question. You're not asking what you need to accomplish or what problems you need to solve. You're asking what you'd like to welcome. Maybe it's joy or peace or a wonderful surprise or simply the feeling of being loved and supported. Whatever comes to you, say, "Yes, I welcome that," and feel yourself opening to receive it. As you move through your morning routine, practice welcoming each experience. Welcome the warm water of your shower, the taste of your morning coffee, the feeling of your feet on the ground. This simple practice of welcoming what's already here trains your energy to be receptive and appreciative, which is the perfect foundation for attracting more good things. During the day, whenever you notice yourself slipping into wanting energy, when you're feeling frustrated that something hasn't happened yet, or worried about a situation, or trying to force an outcome, pause and take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, say to yourself, "I release the need to force. I welcome what wants to come to me. I trust that everything is unfolding perfectly." You don't have to believe it completely at first. Just the act of saying these words and breathing deeply will begin to shift your energy. In the evening, create a simple ritual for releasing any resistance you've accumulated during the day and setting yourself up for receiving while you sleep. Before bed, spend a few minutes writing in a journal or simply reflecting on what you're grateful for from that day. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forms of welcoming energy because it acknowledges that good things are already flowing to you. Then, practice what I call releasing the day. Say to yourself, "I release any worry, frustration, or disappointment from today. These feelings have served their purpose by showing me what I don't want, and now I let them go with love." Feel yourself literally letting go, as if you're setting down a heavy bag you've been carrying. Finally, before you fall asleep, place your hands on your heart and say, "I welcome beautiful dreams, peaceful rest, and wonderful surprises while I sleep. I trust that even while I'm resting, The universe is working on my behalf to bring me everything that's for my highest good. Throughout your week, practice a simple breathing technique that instantly shifts you from wanting to welcoming energy. Whenever you feel yourself getting tense or desperate about something you want, breathe in slowly while thinking, I release the need to control, and breathe out slowly while thinking, I welcome what wants to come. Do this 3 times and notice how much more relaxed and open you feel. For deeper awareness and transformation, try these journaling prompts once a week. Write freely without editing yourself, and let whatever wants to come through flow onto the page. What am I trying to force in my life, and how would it feel to trust instead? Where am I focusing on lack, and how can I shift to appreciating what's already here? What would I naturally attract if I fully believed in my worth? How can I be more receptive and welcoming in my daily life? The most important thing to understand about all these practices is that they're not about perfection. You don't have to remember to do them every single day or do them exactly right. They're simply tools to help you gradually retrain your energy, to help you remember who you really are and what you're truly capable of attracting. Some days, you'll feel naturally magnetic and welcoming. Other days, you'll struggle with old patterns of wanting and forcing. Both are perfectly normal and part of the beautiful process of transformation. Now let me share something with you about affirmations that might completely change how you've been using them. Many people have tried affirmations and felt frustrated because they seemed to make no difference. Or worse, they felt fake and forced. If this has been your experience, I want you to know that it's not because affirmations don't work. It's because most of us have been taught to use them in a way that actually creates resistance rather than flow. Traditional affirmations often feel like we're trying to convince ourselves of something we don't really believe. When you say, I am wealthy, while looking at your empty bank account, part of you rebels against those words. When you say, I am loved, while feeling lonely, there's an internal conflict that actually strengthens the feeling you're trying to change. This isn't your fault, and it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It simply means you need a gentler, more believable approach. The key to affirmations that actually work is making them feel natural and true to where you are right now, while still moving you in the direction you want to go. Instead of jumping from, I have no money, to I am wealthy, you create a bridge that feels believable. You might say, I am learning to welcome abundance into my life, or I am open to receiving money in wonderful ways, or my relationship with money is improving every day. Feel the difference in those statements. They don't contradict your current reality, but they gently guide your mind toward a new possibility. They feel hopeful without feeling fake. They acknowledge where you are while pointing you toward where you want to be. This is the art of effective affirmation, creating statements that your heart can actually accept and believe. The timing of your affirmations matters too. The most powerful time to plant new thoughts in your mind is right when you wake up and right before you fall asleep, when your conscious mind is quiet and your subconscious is most receptive. But don't limit yourself to those times. Anytime you notice yourself thinking thoughts that don't serve you, you can gently redirect with a loving affirmation. What matters even more than the words themselves is the feeling behind them. You can say the most beautiful affirmation in the world, but if you're saying it with desperation or doubt, you're actually affirming the desperation and doubt. When you speak your affirmations, imagine that you're talking to a beloved friend. Use the same gentle, loving tone you would use to encourage someone you care about deeply. Let me give you some examples of affirmations that feel natural and attract powerfully. For love, I am becoming the kind of person who attracts healthy, loving relationships. My heart is healing and opening. I welcome love in all its beautiful forms. for abundance. I am learning to receive the good that life wants to give me. I appreciate what I have and trust that more is on its way. I welcome prosperity and abundance with an open heart. For health, my body knows how to heal and thrive. I treat myself with love and kindness. I welcome vibrant health and energy into my life. Notice how these affirmations focus on the process rather than demanding immediate results. They acknowledge your growth and learning. They include appreciation for what's already good in your life. They end with welcoming what you desire rather than desperately demanding it. This approach allows your mind to relax and accept the new thoughts instead of fighting against them. Sometimes the most powerful affirmations are the simplest ones. I am loved. I am enough. I am safe. I matter. These foundational truths, when felt deeply and repeated gently, can heal years of self-doubt and unworthiness. They don't ask you to believe anything outrageous. They simply remind you of what's already true about your essential nature. As you begin working with affirmations in this new way, you'll start to notice subtle but significant changes in your daily life. These signs that the shift is working might be so gentle at first that you almost miss them, but once you know what to look for, you'll see evidence everywhere that your new, welcoming energy is attracting wonderful things. One of the first signs you'll notice is that you feel different in your body. When you're in welcoming energy, instead of wanting energy, there's a natural relaxation that happens. Your shoulders drop, your breathing deepens, and there's a sense of spaciousness inside you. You might find yourself smiling more often for no particular reason, or feeling unexpectedly peaceful during situations that used to stress you. You'll also notice that your relationship with time begins to shift. When you're constantly wanting things to hurry up and happen, time feels slow and frustrating. But when you're trusting and welcoming, time seems to flow more smoothly. You're more present in each moment, less anxious about the future, and somehow things seem to unfold with perfect timing. People will respond to you differently. When you're not energetically grasping or needy, others feel more comfortable around you. You might notice that conversations flow more easily, that people seem more helpful and kind, that you're invited to things more often. This isn't because you're doing anything dramatically different in your behavior. It's because your energy has shifted and people are unconsciously responding to that shift. Opportunities will begin appearing in your life more frequently. At first, they might be small, a good parking space, a helpful article that appears just when you need it, a chance meeting with someone who has information you've been seeking. Pay attention to these little synchronicities because they're evidence that you're aligning with the flow of life instead of swimming against it. You'll find yourself making different choices naturally. Instead of forcing yourself to do things you think you should do, you'll feel drawn to activities and decisions that feel aligned and exciting. You might choose to spend time with different people, pursue new interests, or make changes in your lifestyle that support your well-being. These choices won't feel like work. They'll feel like natural expressions of who you're becoming. The quality of your thoughts will gradually improve. You'll catch yourself thinking more positive, hopeful thoughts without having to force them. You'll find it easier to redirect negative thinking when it does arise. Your internal dialogue will become kinder and more supportive, like having a loving friend inside your mind instead of a harsh critic. Even your dreams might change. You might find yourself having more pleasant, hopeful dreams, or remembering your dreams more clearly. Some people report having dreams that give them guidance or insights about their desires. Your subconscious mind, freed from the stress of wanting and forcing, becomes more creative and intuitive. Perhaps most importantly, you'll develop a deeper trust in life itself. Instead of feeling like you have to make everything happen through your own effort, you'll sense that life is actually on your side, working with you to create your highest good. This trust makes everything easier and more joyful. Now, as you begin to experience these wonderful changes, it's important to know how to maintain your new attractive energy, especially when life presents challenges or when old patterns try to resurface. Because they will resurface. This is completely normal and doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Growth isn't a straight line. It's more like a spiral where you revisit familiar themes, but at a higher level of understanding. When you find yourself slipping back into wanting energy, into worry or frustration, or the need to control, the most important thing is to be gentle with yourself. Don't make it mean that you failed or that this approach doesn't work. Simply notice what's happening with compassion and curiosity. Say to yourself, oh, there's that old pattern again. I understand why it's here, and I can choose something different now. Create a supportive environment for your continued growth by surrounding yourself with reminders of your new way of being. This might mean placing notes around your home with gentle affirmations, listening to music that makes you feel expansive and joyful, or spending time in nature where the natural flow of life is obvious and comforting. Fill your space with things that help you remember who you really are and what you're creating. Be selective about the people you spend time with during this transition. You don't have to cut anyone out of your life, but notice how different people affect your energy. Spend more time with those who support your growth and positive outlook, and limit time with those who consistently drain your energy or pull you back into old patterns of thinking. Develop a compassionate response to setbacks. When something you were hoping for doesn't happen, or when life presents an unexpected challenge, practice saying, "This is temporary, and there's something I'm not seeing yet. I trust that even this is working for my highest good in some way." This doesn't mean being passive or not taking appropriate action. It means maintaining your trust in the larger flow of life while dealing practically with whatever is in front of you. Build consistency without creating pressure. Choose 1 or 2 practices from what we've discussed and commit to doing them regularly, but don't make it a rigid rule that creates stress if you miss a day. Think of it more like tending a garden. You water it regularly because you love watching it grow, not because you'll be punished if you forget one day. Most importantly, remember that this shift from wanting to welcoming is not a destination you arrive at once and then you're done. It's a way of living, a daily choice to approach life with openness, trust, and appreciation. Some days this will feel natural and easy. Other days it will feel like you're swimming upstream. Both experiences are part of the journey, and both have gifts to offer you. My dear friend, as we come to the end of our time together, I want you to feel the love and confidence that I have in you right now. You have everything within you that you need to create a beautiful, abundant, joyful life. You don't need to become someone different or fix what's supposedly wrong with you. You simply need to remember who you've always been underneath any fear or doubt you've carried. The tiny shift we've talked about today, from wanting to welcoming, is not just a technique or a strategy. It's a return to your natural state of being. It's coming home to the truth of who you are, a beloved, worthy, naturally magnetic being who deserves all the love, abundance, health, and joy that life has to offer. You don't have to wait until you've mastered this completely before good things start flowing to you. The moment you begin to shift your energy, even a little bit, the universe responds. The moment you choose to welcome instead of want, you change everything. The moment you treat yourself with the love and kindness you would show a dear friend, you become irresistibly attractive to all forms of love. Start today, right now, with something small. Maybe it's placing your hand on your heart and saying, "I welcome something beautiful into my life today." Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths and releasing the need to force an outcome you've been struggling with. Maybe it's simply looking in the mirror and saying, You are loved and you matter. Whatever feels right to you in this moment, trust that instinct and take that loving action. Your desires are not random or selfish. They're your soul's way of calling you toward your highest potential. The love you want to experience, the abundance you want to create, the peace and joy you want to feel. These are all available to you. Not because you have to earn them or prove you're worthy, but because they're your natural birthright as a beloved child of the universe. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust that life wants you to be happy and fulfilled. And most of all, trust that this tiny shift really can change everything, because it can and it will, and you deserve nothing less than the beautiful life that's waiting to welcome you home.